Hello there everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and we're going to have two videos pretty close back to back today. We've got a couple of interesting events starting off. The first one we want to talk about, and the subject of today's video though, is going to be the Revenant's Path event. This is basically just the Hero's Path event, the Paths of Light, etc. They've run a few of these before, and this is how this one looks. So what we're going to be doing, I have the whole thing put together so we can see it in one place here in Photoshop. I'm going to show you the way to go through it, etc. First of all, though, we do have some big controversy because the objectives for this one today, we've got Summon Rush and our Dungeon Divers. They're the two events that are combined into this. And the controversy, of course, is look at this, 180 points per Ancient Shard. Well, just yesterday, you can see my event is gone. We did this yesterday. I pulled over 100 Ancient Shards for the double legendary event. And guess what? That event is still on right now. So if we had saved and waited for this Revenant's Path event to pop, we would have got a whole bunch of points. I would have got 18,000 points right here from pulling about 100 Ancient Shards. So a lot of people are very unhappy. It's quite a sneaky move for sure. I almost wonder if it's a mistake because it does seem so stupid. It's one of those weird things. I don't know. Certainly it's something to note for the future anyway. I mean, it's too late now for me anyway. Hopefully it's not too late for you. But look, if it is, if you do care about these Revenant's Paths event, and one of them are Hero's Paths, and one of them is going to overlap with a summoning event, it does seem now that it's better off waiting just to be sure. They've never overlapped them before. They usually have, if it's involving summoning stuff, it usually is sort of out on its own. So it is certainly a bit odd. I do think, if you look at this, it's on for 4 days. Actually, it's on for 5 days, really. We are going to have a Summon Rush this weekend, and that's really the purpose, is that this is supposed to supplement Summon Rush. In fact, I would expect not to have a Summon Rush event as an event this weekend. It's just going to be 10x summons, and this is your Summon Rush. So I think that was their intent. It's just a bit weird that it overlapped with the extra legendary from Ancients. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, there we go. So looking at this quickly as well, you can see these are the points that you get. This is the way you get coins. Honestly, it's not the worst thing in the world to pull, like wasting 100 Ancient Shards for 18,000. It's about 4 Sacred Shards worth, just to put it in contrast. It's a good chunk of points. It's frustrating, but not necessarily the end of the world. I will say, though, that I think Summon Rush and Dungeon Divers, these are the two worst events to get points in. These two events suck. So that's definitely putting me off it. We'll come back and we'll look at how many points we need as we go. But here we go. The paths. Which way should you go through this event? Controversy aside. Well, as you can see when we look through it, you've got a lot of sort of randomy bit of rewards here. We do have these keys which are needed to unlock these bits at the end. We've got legendary books at the bottom. In the middle here at the bottom, we actually have a feast for 40,000. A feast is basically 5 5-star chickens. Also includes some 4-star chickens if you rank up an epic with the feast from 4-star all the way up to 6-star. XP barrel, we've got some of the big essences. And basically when I'm looking at this, the way to go for me is pretty straightforward. So I think this green path is going to be your best bet. So we're going to grab these gems. We're going to come down this left-hand side, get some XP brews. I'm actually low on these after the Moranix fusion, the green ones. So it's small, but it's nice. 5 rarity charms. Rarity charms are actually more rare than rank charms. So they are better to get. We've got a rare book there, that's fine. 4-star chicken, these are pretty bad. But we do have a couple of nicer words here. You've got the middle soul stone, and then we've got a 6-star legendary chaos ore. So these both are pretty good, and the legendary tome are pretty good. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Let me hide this text for a second. Boop, 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 boop. Here we go. It's going to be 31,850 points. Now, this is potentially a whole lot of points, but the rewards at the bottom aren't too bad. So yeah, we'll see when we break down how many points you got to get. How does this compare to a normal Summon Rush? Just this would be the best path at the least. Now, the other path, that's what I moved by accident. Here we go. Here we go. We're drawing some more beautiful artwork here today. So the other path is going down the yellow side, which is the opposite. This looks vaguely sexual, no doubt about it. We're going down. We're going down here. Yeah, there's similar rewards, but not as good, right? So we're getting rank charms. Void brews are not as good, in my opinion, a couple of these pots. We do have an epic tome. That's okay. 6-star epic chaos ore for 6,000. That's pretty poor, to be honest, compared to only 8,000. Well, only 8,000 for the legendary one. We've got a 5-star chicken. That's okay. And then the legendary tome. So you got the 2 legendary tomes. And if you were to include this one, this path is actually 33,050 points. So it's a bit more expensive. I might have made an error, by the way, in adding these up. It's possible. And then we've got basically the rest of the stuff. And I'm basically putting it like this, okay? So orange is quite interesting. Orange is an alternative route here that I think is worthwhile. You've got 5 red brews instead of voids, an XP for 1 day. You've got 5-star chaos ore, legendary. Maybe it's okay. I think this is an alternative route that you could take rather than going down this side of the yellow tree. It's going to cost you 3,100 more to get these. It's basically 6,300 for these batch. I wouldn't be rushing out to grab these for sure. Like if you've gone and grabbed the 2 legendary books, I'd probably stop there. I wouldn't really care about this. For 3,000 points more, it might be worth to grab it over going down the yellow path. For me personally, I would just go yellow path. I'd skip orange. Red then are things that are really you don't need to get at all. These coins at the start are maybe okay, but some brews, some core hammers, 5-star epic chaos ore is pretty pants. XP barrel is priced very highly. I would say they price it as more than a legendary book. I don't think it's very useful really at all. It's worth a bunch of brews, sure, that's true. But like, you know, for a low spender, it's really not that enticing. But you should be leveling up your champions in Minotaur's Labyrinth while you're grinding their masteries. It just doesn't do much for you. It's only useful really to take someone from 6-star level 1 to 6-star level 60. It's pretty meh. Then we've got the magenta path right here. Let me throw in the red path here as well. So the red, these extra bits, red, that I think you should just skip, 18,750 points. And then magenta, which is this, which is the feast and the big essences, that's going to cost you 53,000, which is hugely expensive. The total, by the way, is this, 142,950. So, what do we have going on here? Well, let's break it down a couple of different ways. How doable is this? So let's do some quick maths here. Let me actually get up a calculator. Let me be right back. All right, there we go. We got our calculator. So in a typical summon rush event, you might pull 15 sacred shards to max it out. Now 4,500 multiplied by 15 equals 67,500. So that will be a typical summon rush. If we jump in here, or if we look over here, 65,700, you could get both the green and yellow path, and that's about it. You'd have a couple of bits left over to grab maybe a couple of these red pieces, but you'd be walking away with, you know, this, the medium soulstone. You get a 6-star legendary chaos ore, 2 legendary books, 1 5-star chicken, a few little bits and bobs. It's pretty comparable to a regular summon rush, right? You're getting probably less legendary books. You can get 3, sometimes 4. You'd often get a feast, you know, as the top reward for a summon rush. So I think it's pretty poor. I guess overall it's slightly worse. Someone could actually sit down and work out, you know, the typical monetary value of these things. I think it's reasonably comparable, but probably slightly worse. The good news is that it does have dungeon divers involved, so you'll get some of these points as well, but it can be quite a lot of points. So let's say on average, if we're getting, you know, 5-star legendary, 6-star, let's say we get about 38 points on average. I think that's roughly the average here. Okay, so let's go in. I say to get the green path, okay, it's gonna, how many runs would it take us? 31850. That's gonna be divided by 38. It's going to take you about 838 runs of, let's say, Spider 20 to max out the green path here with Dungeon Divers. If we That's pretty rough. We multiply that by 20. It would cost you 16,700 energy, if I'm not mistaken. 16,000 energy to max out this green path. 16,000 energy for one legendary book, this stuff. Again, it seems pretty poor, to be honest, especially because we're going to have probably a fusion starting soon. Of course, no word on that. Seems a bit weak. I guess one thing to note, I'm going to be doing another video here on the Dragon Tournament. So you might be doing this Dragon Tournament to grab these rewards. You'll pick up some points there. If you do happen to pull some shards during Summon Rush, not Summon Rush, during the weekend 10x event, you might get some there. There's also rumors that we could have a guaranteed event for Ancient Shards. Rumors are that it could be Staltis Dragonbane for 150 Ancients. I've seen that rumor going around. Could be true, could be not. Let's assume that it is true. If that was coming in, if you pulled 150 Ancients, so that would be 180 times 150, you would get 27,000, right? So 27,000. That's not too bad. Again, that's going to get you most of the way. So if you're going for a guaranteed Staltis, if that does happen, it basically brings you down to roughly this legendary Chaos Ore, and then just go grind out the extra 10,000 for a legendary skill tome. Not a terrible deal right there, getting it guaranteed alongside of it. So that's something to consider too, but fairly underwhelming. I think if you took this, so let's say, for example, for me, it would be 260 multiplied by 180. If I hadn't done my guaranteed yes, I would have had 46,000. Basically a big chunk extra right there. And in that situation, yeah, you can look at that and go, man, if they had released this a day earlier so that we could have benefited from the double legendary event, it'd be pretty close to finishing 2 of these paths, which would have been much better. As it is, I think it's pretty dodgy. So there you go. That is the Hero's Path, or the Revenant's Path. Yeah, you can see it actually does say Hero's Path at the top right there. There we are. Revenant's Path. I think this one is pretty underwhelming. These are 2 of the worst. Yeah, I think, honestly, Dungeon Divers for me is the worst event. It's just energy. There's no shortcut. There's no trick to it. It's just you got to spend a ton of energy. Simple as that. That's pretty poor. As a replacement for Summon Rush, it's pretty underwhelming. And it's definitely, for me, pretty poorly received because they just did the double legendary thing the day before. So people that went for the double legendary day 1 are being effectively punished for probably, could be 10, could be 20,000 points they are down here that they should have got if they made these events overlap the way that they should have. So yeah, seems pretty bad. We'll see if that guaranteed Staltis comes true. I'll do a video when we hear, if we hear. Yeah, so I'm sort of expecting, for me, probably going to be doing the green path if that guaranteed event is on. If it's not on, I'm just probably going to go grab the rarity charms, and yeah, I'll work out if I can get this soulstone. I'd like the soulstone in this. I'd like the green path. I think is okay, but I'm not going to go out of my way for it. I'd rather conserve resources for potential personal rewards CVC on Tuesday. If it is, I'll be streaming here on YouTube, and yeah, potential fusion coming up soon as well. There you go, guys. Let me know what you think. I'll see y'all next time. Bye bye.